Hi babes, welcome to Hamilton's Halogen, and this is your friend, Carrie Hamilton. This is a place where darkness meets illumination and truth becomes your turning point. Just like a halogen light burns brighter and hotter to reveal darkness, this podcast is about bringing light into places that many avoid. If you've ever felt lost in the dark, this space is for you. It's time to stop surviving and start shining. Good morning, babes. Happy Thursday. I hope that your week has been going amazing and it is as amazing as you are. And one more day until TGIF. I hope that you guys have been having a good week. And for myself, my children are on spring break. So I go to work and just pray that my house is still there when I get home. And I'm pretty sure they probably fight with each other all day. But hey, kids got to be kids, right? Today I want to talk about how when people hurt us and they criticize us and it makes us triggered, we get defensive. And really, it's a blessing. Because when people do those things, it shows you where you're not yet free. Things that bother you, that make you triggered and put you to the point where your emotions start to play into effect. That's a place where there's something deep that is bothering you, that's where you need healing. So it's not actually a burden, or it's not actually a bad thing when people trigger you, because it allows you to see work that needs to be done to set yourself free. You see, because we're not victims to our circumstances. We're victims to our perspectives. And as I told you before, yesterday and the day before and the day before, we are made of, the steering wheel of our life is our mind. So remember, when your brain is imbalanced, that affects your mood, your motivation, your emotional regulation. So those are things that we have to get to the core of to fix so that it doesn't happen again. You will never be free if you place perspectives against criticisms and circumstances that you encounter, because that's just setting yourself up for limitations, and you're building restrictions against fears and doubts. To have full abundance and to live life to the fullest, you can't have limitations. You see, in Proverbs 10:12, it says, "Hatred stirs up dissension, but love covers over all wrongs." And it's not that we're bypassing, because I do want you to be sure that you aren't obviously condoning ignorance and such, because then that's where we end up in a world like we are today. If we're just bypassing it and saying it's okay and it's really not. I'm not stating that that's what you need to do. I'm talking about the deep wounded things that happened at childhood, and even maybe things that happened before you were even born, and that you just hold that, resentment against, those type of things, the things that aren't in everyday life, and that we need to let go of, because it's literally a weight in a book bag that is just bringing us down, and weight that we're carrying around that isn't necessary. As humans, we are all here. This is an experience, okay? Life is an experience. You are not owed this life. This is a gift, and a lot of people don't see it that way because they sit on the perspectives of the circumstances that they're in. You see, we are all here on a mission. Everyone's mission is different. You'll hear a lot of terms stating Christ consciousness, that I'm in Christ consciousness. What really is that? What they're stating and what the awakening is waking you up to the consciousness of which Christ sees you as. Christ sees all of us as perfect individuals. We are all his creation. And as I said, we're all here on a mission, and it's different missions. And part of the awakening and coming to that realization to be in Christ consciousness, not the subconsciousness, which the subconsciousness is all of the past experiences that you've had in this life, that you sit in that mentality, because such and such did this to you at this age, or you're in this situation right now, or you're financially here, or whatever it is. That's the subconscious mind. That's the 3D, that they call it, the 3D reality mind, because you're basing your mind and your thoughts and who you are on outside sources, on outside desires, on outside circumstances. But you are actually, what the awakening is to awaken yourself to Christ consciousness, to see you in this eagle image, like if I'm looking over you, I could see all around you, versus us, we see, just what's in our regular vision. And so that awakening is to awaken you into Christ consciousness, to think in that perspective and see the beautiful gift that life is, and discover your mission. Everyone's mission is different. So all the hard times that you go through, and when you sit in that subconscious mind because you're currently in a bad situation, those situations are not to destroy you or to cause destruction. They are there to discover you. There is a lesson in every single thing that you are encountering to embrace, so that you could get to that Christ consciousness. Because let's face it, in heaven, our job is to bring heaven on earth. And if you picture heaven, if I were to ask you to, close your eyes and picture heaven, there's no anger, there's no hatred, there's no fear, there's none of that. And in order to get to that place of heaven, you have to release all of that you have learned and have encountered in this life. And so that is becoming from religion and structure and what systems that the schools have taught you, your parents have taught you, past whatever, insert whatever. You are letting all that go. You are shedding all of that to become in oneness, to become someone, because you are some of the one. And the things that you wake up to every day, the frustrations and the anger and all of that is bothering you, those are the things that you need to shed, so you can get to the spirituality side of life and the gift that's waiting for you. So many people confuse that they get caught up in everyone else's situations, and you want to be, because of, for instance, because of my childhood abuse, I knew I never wanted to be that monster that I faced and fought every single day. So I wanted to love, and I was a people pleaser, and I wanted to overly love. And of course I'm not saying you can't love, but what I'm saying is that when you are loving someone so much that you're losing yourself, that's not love, that's manipulation. And that's not love, that's desires. And so you're restructuring your own self and your own soul to make someone else happy. And I'll tell you one thing, you cannot go through life expecting you from someone else, because not everyone has the same heart as you. And that's something you need to understand. And when God works through you, that's how he works. He works through us. We are the vessel, okay? And our job is to plant the seed in other people, but not change their heart. You see, that's God's job. Your job is only to plant the seed and let others know that there is so much more for them, but they need to wake up from that subconscious mind into the conscious mind of who they really are. And as I've said before many times, healing is not for the weak. You will need to distance yourself from people. The hardest for me was my family, because I love my family. And of course I love my friends too, but you grow up with them, and the people that are around you become your comfort. But I will say this, blood makes you related, but loyalty is what makes someone family. And when you're cooking on a stove and you get too close to the flame, it burns you. But you don't know this unless you experience it. And so after cooking for so many times over and over again and touching that flame, whether it's accidental or maybe you do it on purpose to see if it'll, how hot it is, every time you get the same solution, it burns you. So sometimes you just can still cook, but don't get so close to the stove. And that's what I've realized with love as well. Sometimes people's love hurt, and it's because they're hurting and there's wounds inside of them, but you can't make people heal and you can't change others. You can only heal yourself and change yourself. So distance is fine, because you'll still get the meal at the end of the day when you cook, even if you're standing away from the flame. You see, you pray every day and you want this freedom, you want peace, you want to not live in the subconscious world that you're in of what other people have told you were and the circumstances and situations that you were in. But true freedom begins when awareness transcends from material programming and it remembers its divine origin. It's time that you stop chasing approval and stand in your identity. Your worth was never, ever to be defined by what was done to you or what you've been through, but rather your worth is from who created you, from our God, from our source, who you are. And God didn't create you to be broken. He created you to be restored, rebirthed. And it's time that you stop begging for love as an answer or to console your wounds. You need to face them and heal them so that you can start walking in that love.